Hi, it's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Today we're going to be making a Roly Poly Loom knit Santa Claus. And how we're going to do that is you're going to use these two looms if you want the size I'm making. Otherwise, you can use your own imagination. But I'm using the smallest one that comes with the standard set. I think it's like 5 or 6 diameter. And then the larger one, which is like 7 or 8. You're also going to need some sort of straight loom. A sock loom will work fine. I have the Martha Stewart kit that allows me to make all kinds of different looms if I want to. And I've just made a short straight one. I didn't even use all these pegs. I think I used 5 of these pegs. That's going to be for the belt. So we'll get there in a minute. You're going to need to make a solid red hat, no cuff, out of your 7 to 8 diameter. And you're going to want to knit it about 9 or 10 inches long, length of it. So it's about the size of a hat, but it's probably a little longer. And no cuff, so it's just a red bag. And then you just go ahead and draw up your end like you would a hat, and that's your first piece. Your second piece, you're going to need to use the smaller loom, and you're just going to do all white, no cuff again, and just a white little hat. And the little white hat needs to be about a 6-inch knitted length. And when you're done with it, you're going to draw it up just like a hat. So now you have like 2 little hats. The third piece, you're going to make an actual little hat using the little loom again. And you want to do white, and then you want to tie off your thread and tie it onto the red and finish up with the red. Cinch up your top just like a hat. And I have a white pom-pom that I've been waiting for. I thought they were going to show up. I don't know what's happening. I guess they're sending them straight from China on a boat. So I don't have my white pom-pom yet, but you want a white pom-pom. I'm just going to simulate the white pom-pom using a little scrunched up thing of fiber fill here for the time being. But that will go on top just like Santa's hat, you know, so he'll have a little pom-pom up there. So now you have 3 hats. You have a solid red hat from the bigger loom. You have the white hat from the smallest loom. And you have a red and white hat from the smallest loom. Alright, so that's 3 pieces. So the other piece we're going to be loom knitting using your straight loom. Like I said, I think I used 5 pegs on this. It's approximately 1.5 inches wide when it was finished. And I knitted a 24-inch long length of black. This is his Santa belt. And I did it long because when we stuff him, he's going to be fatter. And I wanted to have room to lap over my crafting kind of videos. You know, I'm always buying bags of doodads at flea markets and stuff, sewing stuff, just random stuff. Most of it's vintage, so I get a lot of interesting things. And I have these drip buckles that you cover. Women used to actually cover them in the same fabric and make belts that went to their dresses. So I have this square one and I have this roundish one, and I was planning on using one of these buckles on my Santa belt. If you don't have some sort of buckle, you might be able to find one like on an old pair of clothes or something and strip it down just to the metal underneath or paint it or something. If you don't have a buckle, then you need to use the same flat loom that you use to make your belt and just make about I would say 2 by 2 or a little larger depending on what you think looks good, square of silver or gold would work too, whatever you want to do for your buckle. Just make a square, and then in the middle of the square you'll want to just do X's like you're cross stitching sort of, and just fill in a smaller square so it looks like a buckle. So it's like a rectangle, you know, and so it looks like the belt is already showing through, and then you can just attach that on top of your belt and give the look that the belt has gone through the buckle. I didn't do that because I have 2 actual buckles to use. But it's really simple just to do a little 2 by 2 or 3 by 3, whatever you think looks better on your belt, square or rectangle of gray, silver, gold, whatever you think looks good again, and then make a loom knitted buckle. So that would be our final piece. So the other thing you're going to need when we start putting it together, because with this part is actually his head. So this is the head part. So we have the body of Santa. We have his head with his beard and all that, and we have his hat. So when we get them put together, the face part, we're going to use flesh toned, whatever your flesh is. If you are not white. It's like opaque vampire white like me. Whatever, you know, brown tones, whatever you want to use. I have got no problem with making Santa whatever, you know, you need to make them. I made an Asian Santa one year. My kids thought it was pretty funny and told me that that was doing it wrong, that Santa needed to be peach. So, you know, I tried. So I was trying to have an inclusive Santa. Whatever you want to make your Santa is cool, you know. So find the flesh tone that you want to use, and that's we're gonna be hand stitching his face on there. You're also gonna need the black because we're gonna put eyes on there. So you'll need to have your red yarn on hand to join things with, and the whatever flesh tone you pick for your face, and the black yarn so we can join it all together. First, and you're going to need fiberfill. Red, and I did it double. I used like both ends of the skein. I was knitting from both ends instead of burning the candle from both ends. We're going to stuff Santa's body here. And we want him to be roly-poly, so let's get it real round. And it's just a matter of working with it. And as you're doing that, keep pushing down so you flatten the bottom here. A little bit more. When you're knitting, it's always better to knit on the side, the error side of too big than too small, because you can always tuck it in and adjust the height of it. Now I'm going to stuff his little head part here. And we don't want that quite as much as the other one, but try to get it rounder. Close up. I might want to put a little bit more fiberfill in there. Make them a little bit more fat. My oldest daughter always said it, make them a yacht more fat. So I'm making them a yacht more fat. If my fingernails look stained, it's because I went out, we got a cold front, came in, I'm sure some of y'all got it too. I'm actually in November right now, I don't know when this is going to post. It went from 68 at 7:30 to 40 by noon. So I had to go out and pull my beans. I decided they were probably, that was it with them. I went out and got all my beans and pulled all those plants. All that to say, my fingernails are sort of stained green. I was in a hurry because I knew that cold front was moving in and I wasn't sure how fast. And I really didn't want to be out there in the cold. So I didn't put my garden gloves on. So now my fingernails look green. Alright, so I'm just going to go through, I'm just going to do like a drawstring kind of stitch, a running stitch all the way around with the red. I'm going to pull it just like you would pull, you do your hat. I'm tucking the edges in, the raw edges in, sort of like making a hem here. You're using the same yarn as you did to loom knit the hat, so it's not going to really show. Okay. Now I'm going to push that in. I'm going to pull this tight. And just like a hat, he's pretty round, I think, so that looks good. Okay, I'm going to move him over here. Now, our Santa head. Before we put his head on his body, I just want to sort of put his hat on so I can see where his face is going to be. And I'm going to adjust it back like that. Alright, so this shows me, so this is sort of Santa's head here. To make this for like a stuffed guy instead of like a decoration for a toddler or something. You could do bigger sizes. Alright, so his face, I'm thinking of like a half oval. Right here is his face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down a little lower so it looks like his hair is coming down, or maybe eyebrows, whichever one. And then I'm just going to do a row. Using the ribbed sort of pattern on there. I'm going in one and coming out the other row. So I'm doing a line of so it's not real thick, it's just enough to give the color illusion there. Okay, start to see his face. Alright, so that's enough there. Now what I want to do is come down here. Remember, Santa has a mustache. And I'm just going to do a couple of rows of just like 2 X's here. Alright, so that's sort of our face pattern. So you have like a small 3-row rectangle and a 2-row square there for mouth. And now, just want to get some black. I'm just going to do his eyes through the inside. Pull it through. You could do red mouth, which I think that would be good. Now, alright, so we have Santa's face done. We got his little hat on, so now we need to, because we're going to connect the head to the body. Okay, and how I'm going to do this, tucking the raw edges in again. I'm going to go around, do like a purse string or a running stitch, drawstring, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to tie this here so it doesn't come out. And you want to fold the edges in like we did last, and go around. Got yarn in my mouth. Now, so you see I've done my little stitches. Now, we have our little Roly Poly one. He's got this little like thing at the top here. Put your gather over that. I'm just going to use a couple straight pins to sort of hook it on there so I'm not having to hold and do things at the same time. Actually, one might do it. Okay, now I want to sort of draw it up. And I'm going to loosely go in and out and hook the head to the body. Make sure you have that whole little gather from the body stuck under the head here. Now, if you're making this for a toy, you're going to really want to make sure you get it on there good. If you're just making it because you're making it for decoration, it doesn't have to be on as solidly. Make sure you got them on there, and then you're going to secure your stitches. As you're pulling, you might, pull it tighter as you go around. Okay, now you want to sort of shape his head. Remember, we went around and roly. So just pull things down, put his hat back on him. I'm going to go ahead and put his little, I wish my little pom-pom came. I wanted everyone to have time to make the Santa for Christmas, so I didn't want to wait for the boat to show up. So if you have a pom-pom, you're just going to look a lot better than this. Let me sort of make this pom-pomish. I'm just, like I said, I'm just substituting this little bit of fiber fill for a pom-pom on his head. Alright, and then we're going to put that on the top of his hat. Now if you wanted to, which I'm going to do, I'm going to go down into the head. So the hat and the pom-pom and everything is hooked together. Squish him a little fatter there. Alright, now for the belt. You know, I was thinking a little red pom-pom might even look cute for the nose too, you know, if you had a little one. In fact, I'm thinking maybe I want to make a red. I'm just going to do a single stitch right here for his nose. There we go. That looked better. Okay, now we have his little belt. And I'm going to use the square. So the first thing we need to do is just attach the belt. Line it up where you think you want it. I'm just going to make a stitch on here. So it holds it. And then I'm going to lay it out and turn him around. And do a stitch in the back. And I'm rolling it back over here. Now, this is where I need to put my buckle on. I'm just going to loop my, put it where I want it here. Over here by the buckle. And I'm going to do a couple stitches. Near the buckle, just because of the weight of the buckle. If you did the, well, you want to put stitches in the front anyway, so. The silver is not showing, so that's good. Alright, and my buckle is secure. Your Roly Poly Santa. And if you squish them flat like that, it makes them rounder. His face seems a little lopsided. There. There we go. And that's Santa. And that's your Roly Poly Santa. So it was the 2 small looms, and you had 1, 2, 3 hats, and a belt. And a little pom-pom, fiber fill, and if you have a little buckle, that's cool. If you don't, just make it out of the silver, gold, or gray yarn. And it's a little bit of thing. You could also do, if you didn't want to sew, you could do glue googly eyes on there. You could glue a red pom-pom for a nose. So this has been our Roly Poly Santa loom knitting project. It's fun, it's easy, it's basically you're just making a bunch of hats, so sewing them together. So thank you for joining us today at Canterbury Trails Farm. Bye!